Yesterday was a big day for GoPro. They announced their new GoPro Karma Drone, which is something that people have been anticipating for a long time. This was big news for GoPro because what it did is it essentially converged their business into the same exact market as the industry leader in the field, DJI. As the owner of 3 DJI Phantoms and 3 GoPros, I was very intrigued. The first DJI Phantom I've ever owned was a DJI Phantom 2. What I liked about it is that it allowed me to use my GoPro Hero 3, and when I wasn't using the drone, I can take the camera off and do other things with it. Practically, that didn't turn out to be very useful because the way that it was mounted onto the drone was too cumbersome to take off and on and off and on each time I wanted to use the GoPro by itself. So I ended up leaving the GoPro on all the time. And since then, DJI's camera technology and their image quality has caught up, if not surpassed, GoPro's image quality in their cameras. Now the DJI Phantom 4, which is the new one that I own, it will do 4K video. It will do 1080p at 120 frames per second slow motion. The image quality is really good. A lot of manual controls, and most of all, what I like about it is that it presents a rectilinear image, which means when you look at the horizon, there's no distortion. Let me just kind of go through what GoPro announced and what's new about the GoPro Karma as compared to what's already on the market today. First of all, their price point for the GoPro Karma without a camera is $799, which is significantly cheaper than what it costs to buy a DJI Phantom 4. However, the DJI Phantom 3, which is still available on the market, can be had for much less than that. The difference is if you buy a DJI Phantom 3 versus a GoPro Karma, the Phantom 3 comes with its own built-in camera, a very high quality camera at that. To get the GoPro Karma with a new GoPro Hero 5 camera, it's going to cost you $1,100, which in essence puts it pretty close on par with what the DJI Phantom 4 sells for. Right now, the DJI Phantom 4 can be had for about a little over $1,300. The things that GoPro is touting with their new GoPro Karma, its form factor. It's slim, meaning that it has a very low profile. It folds, the arms retract, so it fits into a backpack. And it also has a detachable stabilizer. Their gimbal is what they're calling the stabilizer, which also goes into a hand grip they call the Karma grip. This is not unlike what DJI has done in their top-of-the-line flagship drone, the Inspire 1. The Inspire 1 also has a detachable gimbal that goes into a handheld mount, but that is at a much higher price point. What GoPro is also doing is that they're including a backpack. A backpack, slim in profile, fits everything that comes with the GoPro inside it for transport. The grip, the drone itself, the controller, and the stabilizer. How GoPro is selling this is that they're selling it as a complete system. It's not just a drone that takes aerial photography. It is a way for you to take your GoPro and get whatever kind of shots that you want, whether it be handheld, aerial, or mounted. The GoPro Karma grip allows you to take all your existing GoPro mounts and mount the Karma grip to it, meaning that you can now have the stabilizer in your Karma grip mounted on a bike handlebar, outside your vehicle, on the backpack that comes with the GoPro Karma. That big ecosystem of GoPro mounts is going to be really helpful in selling the GoPro Karma, especially to die-hard GoPro fans. Well, GoPro is also saying that this drone is very easy to fly. It has one button takeoff, which by this point every drone on the market does. It has a feature what GoPro is calling shot paths. Basically, it's 4 automatic modes that allows a user who's flying the drone to get a specific shot. One of them is orbit. Orbit essentially lets you fly the drone up in the air, click a button, set the radius of your orbit and set the center of your orbit and have the drone fly in a circular motion around it while keeping the camera pointed to the center. They also have a second mode called the drone, which if you don't know what a drone is, it essentially lets you set the drone up in front of you for a selfie shot and have the drone fly backwards and up, revealing the location. Third mode is reveal. It's like a Hollywood shot where the camera is initially panned down, and as it moves forward, it slowly pans up, revealing what is in front of the camera. And then third one is called cable cam. It's a film industry term where a camera is mounted on a cable, so it could be fixed to slide back and forth in space, whereas in this case, it's using their GPS coordinates. Unlike the Phantom 4, the Karma's controller is more like a game controller. It's got a built-in LCD screen that folds up, and when it's in the down position, it covers the gamepad. It doesn't have any visible antennas, which makes me wonder one thing about its range, and it's not something that they talked about. If you were to have a GoPro Hero 4, you won't have to buy a new GoPro to make this work, because the GoPro Karma is compatible with the Hero 4 and the newly announced Hero 5. With the built-in LCD screen, the GoPro Karma also doesn't require a smartphone to use as your FPV monitor. So those are the things that they're touting as unique features. However, it's the things that they don't say that makes me wonder exactly what this thing is capable of. Number one, they don't say much about the range of the GoPro Karma. From what I can tell on their website and their technical specs, it has about a 1 kilometer range, which is actually pretty decent. Most likely, you're not going to fly further than 1 kilometer from you, especially if you're in the US where you're sort of required to keep your drone within line of sight. So usually if you're flying farther than that, you're not going to be able to see it. Secondly, I don't know what the battery life is. In one of the shots in their promotional videos, it's showing that it has an 18-minute battery life. I'm also not sure if you're actually going to get 18 minutes or if that is just 18 minutes of hovering and non-aggressive flying. What the Karma doesn't have as compared to other products like the DJI Phantom 4 is the DJI Phantom 4 has other sensors besides the standard ones like the accelerometer, the compass, and the GPS. The DJI Phantom 4 also has optical sensors pointing down and optical sensors pointing forward, as well as sonar sensors pointing down. What that lets you do is let you fly indoors when there is no GPS signal. From what I can tell, the GoPro Karma is only going to be able to fly outdoors when it has a GPS sensor. It'll probably fly indoors too, it just won't fly nearly as stable, and you're more likely to crash into walls and objects. And with the GPS module that it has on the GoPro Karma, they don't say whether or not it supports GLONASS, which is the European standard. The DJI Phantom 4 supports both the US GPS standard as well as the European GLONASS standard, which means that you're going to be able to fly this more reliably internationally. With that gimbal stabilizer mounted on the front of the drone, it's going to be great because one of my biggest gripes with the DJI Phantoms, when I'm flying forward at a very high speed, the drone is tilted forward. And with it tilted forward so much, a lot of the times you're able to see the propeller spinning in the corner of your shot, which is kind of annoying to me. You're not going to have nearly the same problem with the GoPro Karma. The GoPro Karma has the gimbal mounted in the front, basically eliminating all possibilities that you will see the propellers when you're flying. On the other hand though, that makes me wonder about its crash durability. I've crashed my DJI Phantom 2 a couple of times, and for the most part it's survived. It's got some scratches once the gimbal went out of balance and I had to get it replaced, but for the most part my GoPro in the DJI Phantom 4 escaped unscathed after all the crashes. With the gimbal and the GoPro mounted in the front, and especially protruding so far away from the rest of the body with no protection whatsoever, and I wonder how durable the GoPro will be in an event of a crash. There's no statistics yet because nobody actually has one of these GoPro Karmas. They don't actually release until the 3rd week of October. But from all I can see, it's most likely that this thing is not going to be nearly as durable in a crash as the DJI Phantom series. GoPro is not selling this for the professional market. In fact, the professional market wants more flexibility than what the GoPro camera angles can offer. If you want an aerial photography drone for your independent film, you're most likely not going to want your footage to have that signature GoPro fisheye look. I would say the DJI Phantom series is going to be a better bet because it gives you a rectilinear, squared off image. The horizon is going to be straight. When you're panning up and down, things are going to be distorted. Well, GoPro, they're targeting this for the mass market, for the consumers. For people who are into outdoor activities, they want videos of them mountain biking, snowboarding, exploring, adventuring, camping on edges of ocean cliffs, and things of that nature. So in summary, I think the GoPro Karma is going to do really well. The price point is right at $799. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming the Karma grip and the stabilizer is also going to be compatible with the GoPro Hero 4. If you've already invested $300 to $400 into a GoPro Hero 4, spending an extra $800 to get a drone with the stabilizer is kind of a no-brainer. However, if you have to spend the entire $1,100 to buy a camera and a drone, I would really think twice about what you plan to do with it. The DJI Phantom 4 right now is ahead by 2 generations as compared to the GoPro Karma. Since the Phantom 2, DJI has advanced their product line by 2 generations. The DJI Phantom 4, as I mentioned earlier, has obstacle avoidance, which means when it's working properly, it is impossible to crash moving forward into any objects. It also has downward facing optical sensors, meaning that when you're flying indoors without GPS or GLONASS signal, it will stay in place both in altitude and in position, which is not something I believe the GoPro Karma is going to be able to do without those sensors. So without seeing one of these and playing with one of these GoPro Karmas in person, this is kind of my first impressions of what the GoPro Karma is going to be like. I think it's going to be a great product. They're probably going to sell a ton of these, but where they go from here is something that I'm interested in seeing. Essentially, GoPro and DJI have become the same company. 3 years ago, DJI made drones, GoPro made cameras, and they work with each other to build an aerial photography platform. Since the Phantom 2 vision, DJI has been in the imaging business for a couple of years, and now GoPro is finally getting into the drone business. It's an interesting fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go from here.